Now, I remember back in 2016, several of us at Daily Kos wrote these articles about Donald Trump triangulating Hillary Clinton, and that's exactly what he did. And Kurt just said it exactly right.
When did stasis become okay in our country? And when did we become a society by and for the wealthy?
What happened simultaneously was our kind of plunge into nostalgia that happened after the late 60s. But that was weaponized, that nostalgia, and used politically by the economic right, as I talk about in Evil Geniuses. And these guys got together in the early 70s, a decade before Ronald Reagan was elected, to say, let's go back to the old days economically. Back before there was a big government, before the New Deal, frankly, that's when it happened. It happened simultaneously, this kind of plunge into nostalgia toward kind of cultural stasis, at the same time that the norms and the laws and the practices and the regulations, hundreds of them, were changed. And we had this paradigm shift from the New Deal consensus to what I call in this book, the raw deal, that was sort of imposed upon us by 1,000 cuts.
I'm going to read a quote from your book that is designed to and should get everybody's attention. If we fail to reform our government and economy along sensible democratic lines, we might well experience a large-scale populist spasm involving pitchforks and nooses. Just sounds uncomfortable. America could be the first large modern society to go from fully developed to failing. I'm guessing we want to avoid that. I'm also guessing you found a through line to the election of Donald Trump and perhaps to an uncontrolled pandemic loose in what we like to call the wealthiest nation on earth.
Right. We've had this terrible economy for the 80% of Americans for the last 40 years, where median incomes don't rise and only the rich get richer. We know that. But it's so much broader than just that. I mean, that's the leading metric. That's what we call inequality. Donald Trump, one of his brilliant moments of evil genius, when he ran for president last time, he ran as a populist. He ran economically to the left of Hillary Clinton, to the left of any Republican ever, slagging Wall Street, slagging the rigged system. His final ad, I went back and looked at it, just in the last few days. Bernie Sanders could have delivered it, literally. That's what he ran on, and then boom, he gets elected. It was all a fake. It was all part of the act, and he did the bidding of the economic right, the billionaires, the Kochs, the banks, the rest, who have been the bosses of this party for going on 50 years or longer, but certainly the last 40 or 50 years. And his great legislative accomplishment, of course, is a $2 trillion tax cut, most of which went to the wealthy. If that keeps on, if we don't, I think, pretty radically reform our system, as Franklin Roosevelt did to save capitalism from itself, as Teddy Roosevelt began to do to save capitalism from itself, we're not going to save the free market economy from itself. And the greed is going to send us, as you quoted me saying, to ugly populist spasms. It's already sent us to ugly populist spasms, just not yet to that kind of civil disorder and violence, which I think we could get to. And I think that's the inflection point we're at right now.
They go ahead and they campaign with the promises to give you health care and a great economy. And then when they get into office, they go ahead and do the opposite. The problem is, however, that even as they do evil, they continue to hoodwink many people because of our level of information and education. And as much as a lot of these stations now are catching up to Donald Trump, we have to be careful that this is not just a temporary thing. We have to make sure that we keep it going. And I tell you, the only way you're going to do that, though, is with independent media. Because ultimately, at all these stations, these are good people. But they just have to be funded by these plutocrats. And the plutocrats are just going to give them a certain amount of leeway. And my hunch is right now that there's a good likelihood that some of them have noticed things have gone too far. And the only way to rein them in is they're saying, okay, media, new appendage, go rein them in. Folks, we've got to do better. We've got to inform. Independent media has got to inform, and that is what we intend to do. I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel, and please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.